Hello Internet. This is a 2080 that started my whole YouTube career. The very first video I posted on this channel was about fixing this very same card with the very same problem. That is, the melted fan/LED connector. So far, I've dealt with this damage only once, and it wasn't too bad. Just needed to clean things up and reroute the fan connections. So that's going to be the theory behind this repair. I'll start by clearing the smoke buildup with alcohol so it doesn't smell anymore, or at least not as bad. And with that out of the way, I want to make sure that the core has a chance of survival, because who knows, I might be wasting a lot of time here for nothing. I was getting short on 1.8 volt rail, but could not find the source other than the buck converter itself. So I removed the coil and it looks like the short is on the load side. And after looking around with the thermal camera, I couldn't find anything. And the funny thing is, the short disappeared on its own. I guess whatever was causing it was inside those burn layers, and it just simply got blown through with the voltage injector. Who knows? The bottom line is, resistances are normal, so I'll start the cleanup process and hopefully we get lucky today. Okay, cleanup is done. No short anywhere, so let's power on and see what it does. That looks good. We have voltages everywhere, so let's boot the card and see if it posts. Nope, no post. I checked the data lines, PEX reset, clock, all the good stuff. Everything seemed okay, but the Linux says it's not detected. Just like in my last video, the no detect can be caused by this chip having nothing on the output. Let's check the output for resistance, and we have a short. Well, that explains why we have no detect. And what makes it worse is that the output goes directly into the core, and according to my thermal camera, the core is short. What a great way to end this video, huh? I was hoping for success to remind myself that I still got it. But all I was reminded of is that no matter how hard you try, I can't save them all. Well, there goes your repair attempt. And on top of our failed repair attempt, this MSI came in. That was a following repair. So basically it had a short on 12 volt. The fuse that I had replaced, as you can see here, it's a replaced fuse. It was blown, the driver MOSFET was blown, and So I got that fixed. Everything worked, with the exception of the card was stuck in the X1 mode, as I can demonstrate to you right now. The problem is coming from the back of the board, as you would expect to be a capacitor. See, watch this LED here. Like the capacitor is not connected or something, but the card had never been taken apart. However, the core was cracked when I opened the card. I don't know if I cracked the core or if the core was already cracked. There was no way for me to validate that. I'm actually thinking that the core could have been cracked either by disassembling it or just by its use, because the cooler on this card, it does not have a flat surface to contact the core, but instead they're running heat pipes across, and the break happened to be right exactly at the edge of one of those heat pipes. So I wouldn't be surprised if it got broke because of the heat pipes instead of regular flat surface. I don't know. In any case, there's nothing I can do because I checked the connections. I'm not going to lift the core to verify the connection between the via and the pad under the core, because if I do, that little tiny crack that's already on the core could make things a lot worse, and as a result, it would not only not run in X1, it'll probably die altogether. So, and I got a feeling that the customer is not gonna want to pay for this, and instead probably gonna file a lawsuit or whatever. Who knows? Who cares? Just another day at a repair shop, I guess. Then I don't even have a shop to begin with. So turns out, and I've totally missed this part, is that he originally got this card somewhere and came home and it was dead. So he ran a memory test. Turns out there was a problem with one of the memory chips. So he flashed it with the BIOS, disabling that memory chip or the channel. And now the card has 8 gigabytes instead of 10. And so what that did, but it was still dead. I don't know. He said it was working fine, but then eventually it quit. And then it ended up on my bench with a blown fuse and a shorted driver MOSFET. How that happened, I have no idea. And so, with that crack on the core, I don't want to reball it. I don't want to do any kind of heat treatment on the cord, because that crack will expand and shrink with the heat cycle, and it will potentially make it a lot worse than it already is. So, given the fact that it works in X1, I suggested that we should just leave it alone and just use it as is, you know, whatever. Sell it, do whatever you want with it. Because any kind of a reballing attempts could potentially finish off the core. But he tries to kind of drive me into making that decision for him, and you know, by saying things like, well, if you think it's worth it, I think it's the other way around. And so it sounds like he just doesn't want to pay, or not happy, or whatever the problem is. I'm just going to flat out refuse to do any kind of work on this card anymore. I'm not going to reball it. I'm not going to flash the stock BIOS, because if I do, it's not going to post because of the faulty chip or the channel. Probably a broken solder joint. I don't know. Whatever the issue is, it's likely that any type of further repairs will make it worse. So I'm not going to bother. Now, this 4090 here has a shortened memory, I believe. Yep, that's shortened memory. Why that is, I have no idea. And that's shortened 1.8. So this is probably dead core. The card was RMA reject. And yeah, okay, I see. It looks like there's something on there. Let's have a look. Probably why it got dead. So there's a gigabyte, showed us a lovely... Okay. So it looks like one of the feedback resistors got removed or something. I have reasons to believe that somebody tried to solder something in here. So the component was knocked off, and then there's signs of solder, and most likely that was some kind of a feedback capacitor or a resistor, I don't know. And that overloaded the power circuit, and we're now short. And if we were to inject, let's say, we're probably going to have a memory chip glowing somewhere. There's no way this thing survived. So, okay, let's inject something into here. Yep, so right there, this memory chip is dead short. Right there. So if I were to remove this chip and the short goes away, then this is going to be a miracle fix. If not, then it's going to be a dead core. But I'm guessing if I remove this chip, the short's going to show up on a different chip, and then once I remove them all, it's just going to remain on the core. Who knows? I've seen miracles before, so I'm not going to give up on this just because I have short on memory and 1.8. 99% people would say this would be a waste of time. I don't mind. What I do mind is when people are telling me to do things that I think it shouldn't be done to avoid a disaster, but they insist in such a way that if anything goes wrong, it's my fault, you know, so I don't like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and deal with this chip, and hopefully we get it fixed today. If you guys are wondering, here's my conversation with this guy. You can read it all you want. This is not the whole thing. Obviously, some of the sensitive information is hidden. So basically, I'm asking him if he wants me to leave it alone or try. And he's just like going on to, it's useless if you think it's worth trying. And I said, I think it's not worth trying. You know, I just don't want to make that decision myself, because basically that's a responsibility that goes on me, and I don't want it. So he's just gonna said he was gonna give me a return label, as I told him, because I don't have time to play these games anymore. So alright, so we're gonna cook this chip to the death because it's already dead anyway. Not gonna worry about overheating or anything. So that should be a quick fix. Who knows? Hopefully we'll fix this thing. I really want something to get fixed today. That 3080 really got on my nerve, especially after I spent a day fixing that 2080 with that burned board. So that was a no fix, and then the 3080 was next, and then that was half dead, and the customer's pissed. He don't want to pay. And now this. It's like 3 cards in a row. After I've successfully repaired 12 4090s and made a customer super happy, I got 3 cards that are dead. That's just not cool. Some days are just terrible like this. So, but who knows? We're gonna try. So removing this chip should instantly normalize reading on a memory, as well as the 1.8. There we go. Let's clean that up. And if that happens, then that is one lucky customer. I'm not gonna bother soldering another chip, because soldering another chip right now would just be a waste of the chip. Let the board cool. Okay, board cooled almost. 1.8 here, 4 ohms here, which means we have a short somewhere else. Let's inject more volts. See if we can spot most likely another chip. Okay, here goes nothing. Right there. See, now it's this chip. And here. Yep, exact same chip. So let's get rid of this chip and try again. Eventually, we're probably gonna end up removing all of the chips, and the short will probably remain on the core, as I've said. But I don't know if I want to waste my time to a point of removing every single chip, because that probably be the dumbest thing I've done today so far. Who knows? But I'll try anyway. Who cares? That way, whoever's going to be responsible for paying the repair fee won't get mad at me for not trying. All right, let's check for resistances with the chip removed. Oh, look, no more short on 1.8. 1.2, perfect reading. What about memory? What? Out of range? Hello? Are we reading short on memory still? No. 14. 15. I want to see like 40, 60. I don't remember what the value that I need, but that's a little too low. But it's still hot, so yeah, it's like 60 degrees or something. So I'm gonna let it cool down completely. Hopefully we end up getting a fix today. That would be awesome. And all it took was 2 chips. So that's a small price to pay for a working 4090, if you ask me. Alright, so it looks like the 100 nanofarads capacitor, 100K resistor, 100 nanofarads capacitor. And this resistor here does not exist, so we just need to check these two. The capacitor needs to be replaced. So let's go and do that real quick. Let's see if we can at the very least validate the reading of that capacitor, resistor rather. And that resistor is, it reads 0. It reads 0. I don't know if this is normal. Probably, well, if let's see what this one says. This one reads 7 ohms. So, under normal circumstances, resistors do not turn from, and some of you repair techs out there will find it unbelievable, but the resistors don't turn from 100K to a 0 ohm. I'm not going to argue with that, but as a matter of fact, I have recently seen exactly that. You may believe me or not, I don't really care. So what I want to see, if I have a short that resistor before and after, that may explain why it's 0 ohm. No, there's no short here, or here, or here, or there. But we do get a short in between, so I don't know. Maybe this is normal. The schematics telling me otherwise. Who knows? We're just gonna have to go along with this. So yeah, it says it's supposed to be 100K, but it's the other one is a 2.5K, but there's 0 ohms. I don't know. So 100 nanofarad capacitor will be connected to the resistor in parallel. So we can literally solder that resistor capacitor right next to that resistor. I just want to see what the traces here look like. But that makes no sense. You see, if If the resistor is 0 ohm, then that capacitor has no function whatsoever. So yeah, so the resistor must be 100K. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this resistor and do what the board view says. Right there. That's gonna be proof to one of you techs out there that this is indeed a very possible problem for a resistor to turn into 0 ohm. There. I could probably leave it like that, right in the middle of it. Should be okay. Who knows? Find out soon enough. I'm gonna leave that arrow there so that if I ever get this card again, I'll know where to look. Or at least where to check if something were to go wrong. Let's cool the card down. Check for resistances again. Try to boot. If we get errors on the two channels, on the two memory chips that I have removed, then we have a working core, at least in theory. Then I'm gonna solder the chips, and it will be nothing short of a miracle today, that's for sure. We're gonna get our thermal camera ready. Thermal camera. Make sure we spot anything weird. Hello, this is looking good. I need to increase the amperage because we're stuck at 2 amps. Alright, there we go, 213. Yeah, that looks really good. Looks like every phase is working. So, oh man, this is great. I think we have a fix. So obviously it's not going to post because of the memory chips are gone. But at the very least, I'm going to go ahead and run the memory test if I find the adapter. I tell you, probably 99.9% of all repair places will reject that. And but not me. I'm the crazy one here. So let's see if we can run a memory test. Okay, let's go into the boot menu. Select our drive. We're gonna go 4 for 40 series and 1 for mods. And it's testing for memory right now. Yes. Perfect. Those exact memory chips had been reported. Oh, shut down. And so it makes perfect sense right now to solder the 2 chips. And I think we have a fix. Isn't that incredible? I think it is. I'm so happy right now. I don't even care if that jerk's not gonna pay me for that 3080 that I got him fixed. I don't care. I got this one fixed. It's gonna cover. It'll pay my bills. There you go. Tell your mother how proud you are that you ripped somebody off who had honestly earned his pay, and you ripped him off. You should feel good about yourself and go around the world, tell everybody that you can get away with that. The 0.01% of you. I don't even have to stress about it. There's so few of people like that unfortunately we have to deal with them sometimes. Who cares? I just need to go eat something sweet, like an ice cream or something, and then go take a dump to relieve myself of all that negative thought. Alright, so we're gonna give him a couple of chips that I have laying around just for that occasion. No, not really. And we're gonna solder them on and make everybody happy today, except for that one jerk. He's gonna die eventually anyway. That's right. You're watching, you'll be dead at some point. Maybe when you grow old, who knows? I don't care. It'll get to you eventually. Same as me though. I'll be dead too. We'll be dead. Except that some of us will be dead with a smile on their face. That'll be me. I'll be smiling. I'll be happy. Okay. Chips had been replaced. The guy paid for the repair attempt. Getting a working GPU and paying for the repair attempt. No short. No short. So if this thing posts, we have a winner. Now we're trying to get an image from the card. Let's see if that works. All right, come on, big money, big money. One beep, one happy beep, and come on. All right. That's right. We got her. She works. I'll put it together. We'll run some tests. And looks like we have a happy customer today. Unlike that one jerk. Who cares? I wish him a Merry Christmas. That will be it. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed day. Goodbye.